Hey guys, so it is time to start talking about Legends Fest 2024. It kind of feels kind of crazy to me. It seems like we just did a video, or I just did a video talking about this exact thing last year. I think I even had this calendar pulled up, the exact same website. And this is just going to be me firstly talking about when I think Legends Fest is going to start. And then we'll get into some of the more discussions surrounding the characters that we could be seeing for Legends Fest this year. But to start things off with, so if we take a look at prior Legends Fest, I didn't have all the banners pulled. I think I did this last year where I had like all the prior year banners pulled up. Essentially, the way that they schedule Legends Fest is we could even go back to like 2022. And if we take a look at November, so Legends Fest in 2022 was pushed on the 25th of November, which was a Friday, Black Friday. Legends Fest 2023 was pushed on the 24th, which is a Friday, which is also Black Friday. So there's a very established pattern of when they, and this the same thing in 2021 as well. There's a very established pattern of when they like to push Legends Fest out. It usually ends the final, or it usually drops the final Friday in November, and that lines up with it being Black Friday, which would make sense for them, in terms of finances and stuff like that. In 2024, things are a little different. If we scroll down to November, the last Friday in November, aka Black Friday in November of 2024, actually falls very late in the month. This is the final day of the month. And so I guess I was kind of looking at this, I think in a prior video, and I was thinking to myself, are they really going to push Legends Fest all the way back to the 29th? Is that something they would really feel comfortable with? And I'm thinking, typically this is what I would choose for when Legends Fest releases. I think the 29th is, again, it lines up with the patterns we've seen in the prior years, but again, it's a little late. It's a little late this year. And this past reset, when Majin Vegeta dropped, we got a new PvP season. The Pride on the Line Duel to the Death of PvP season. And you can see they have this PvP season end on a very specific date at 11 a.m. November 22nd at 11 a.m. Now, this is a very long PvP season. This is over 3 weeks for this PvP season. This PvP season is going all the way up to when we get Legends Fest. So this is, I think, almost assuredly when the actual Legends Fest celebration is going to start. The 22nd, I think. I don't think it's going to be the 29th. I think it's going to start on the 22nd, which to me makes more sense because it's more in line with the actual day that the Legends Festival celebration started in prior years. The 29th is just a little bit too late, I think. So they probably do want to push this out on the 22nd. And I think we'll get absolute confirmation on this, I think, when we get the co-op season, which should be coming up this reset. This Wednesday on the 6th. We're getting a new co-op season on the 6th. I actually can't remember if last year's co-op season ended right as the Legends Festival started, but I believe that's how it works for the anniversary. So that's one way we can get absolute confirmation. But to me, this I think serves as confirmation enough that Legends Fest will actually begin on the 22nd as opposed to the 29th. So we pretty much have about 3 weeks time, right? It's the 3rd as I'm recording this video, Sunday, the November 3rd. So we pretty much have 1, 2, 3 weeks essentially until the festival begins. We just received our final summonable banner with Majin Vegeta on it, and now we're pretty much going to have a pretty, down period of 3 weeks or so until Legends Fest begins. So you got time to farm up the story, you got time to farm up events you haven't done yet. And just sort of, hang tight until things get riled up right before the festival begins. So I think, November 22nd, typical standard time is when we should expect to receive the Legends Festival stuff. I think also Thursday the 21st, at least this is Japan time, so is when the reveal will be. So we'll see all the characters revealed and stuff on the 21st. So that could be a big day as well. So that's something I wanted to just mention here. So get into the character discussion. I think ever since probably Legends Fest last year, I would say we hit this mark at Legends Fest last year, where it became a bit tougher to sort of predict which characters we were going to see as headliners for the big celebrations. Right, 5th anniversary, we kind of knew it was going to be Goku and Frieza because they were one of the last characters that we were yet to have received in terms of representation for big moments in the series. Besides them, it was like Universal Spirit Bomb Goku, who we got in January this year. So now we're really kind of just, at this point, we've pretty much covered all of our bases. And we're sort of just looking at which super mega hype characters could we get that they haven't done in a while. And that's why I think I went into the 6th anniversary like very highly anticipating Super Vegito, and that was very obvious to me. Was not expecting Gogeta, but they ended up giving us the blue Gogeta as well. So I think just, the point of me talking about this is just to say that it's not very obvious which characters we're going to be getting here because they now have everything represented. Pretty much all the big moments from the series are in the game now. But I'm just going to give you, first of all, the format that I think they're going to have for this Legends Fest celebration. We have definitely had a variety of different formats in terms of the banners for these last few big celebrations. So starting with the 5th anniversary, we had 1 LF for part 1, 2 LFs for part 2, and then a Ultra for part 3. Legends Fest 2023, we had 2 LFs for part 1, 1 LF for part 2, but that 1 LF was a game original LF, and then an Ultra for part 3. 6th anniversary, we had 2 LFs for part 1, 2 LFs for part 2, and an Ultra for part 3. So it's very hard to take a look at the past 3 major celebrations and really say, okay, yeah, I'm 100% sure this is how they're going to do the format, because they've sort of just been all over the place with that. The way I think it's going to go this year, we've, I guess, slowly been stepping things up in terms of the amount of characters. But I think we're probably going to be getting the same amount of characters. Well, I don't even know if that's true. I was going to say the same amount of characters as the 6th anniversary, but it would depend on how they're going to handle the what if characters, the game original characters. I think part 1 will be a dual LF banner. I think they're going to keep that same format. They definitely saw major success with the 6th anniversary. They saw major success with Legends Fest 2023 with the starting part 1 with the dual LF banners. I think starting off with dual LFs makes a lot more sense than starting off with just one, just because you want to start the celebration with a very high bar, with very high momentum. So I think they rightly so should keep the first part to have 2 LF banners. And then I guess the question just becomes, what are they going to do for part 2? I thought during the anniversary they were going to implement some what if or Legends or game originals characters for the anniversary, but they did not. I guess if they don't decide to go with any game originals characters for Legends Fest this year, then I guess the idea is just going to be scrapped at that point. They're at this point a full year since they did the last one. We know that Goku and Bardock, who were the game originals character last year, we know they are getting a unique equipment this month in November. I assume it's going to be leading up to Legends Fest and not actually during Legends Fest, but we'll see. I definitely think there's a super mega high chance that we could see a game originals for part 2. And what I think is actually going to happen is it's very possible that we could see 2 game originals characters for part 2. I think there's 2 options here. I'm pretty set in stone on my prediction for part 1 being dual LF. Part 2, I think there's 2 options. I think the first option is they do dual game original banners, which again is just a dual LF banner, but the banner formats are different, which is another issue, but we don't need to talk about that right now. The other possibility is that they do 1 game original and 1 normal LF banner for part 2. And then I think part 3, I don't think is going to change. I think it's just going to be a typical summonable Ultra for part 3. So we'll see. We'll see what they want to do for part 2, but for part 1, we could talk about some of the options here. I think this, to me, definitely seems like the most likely character we could see. They introduced the Synchro Gauge in the anniversary. The Synchro Gauge, to me, sounds like and feels like a mechanic they're going to be saving, probably more so for these big celebrations. I don't think the Synchro Gauge is something like the tag mechanic where, yeah, they're going to drop like every now and then a Goku and Piccolo. We're going to have like these characters as tag characters and whatever. I don't think it's going to be something like the Ginyu Force tag characters. I don't think it's going to be something where we're seeing like 1% sparking characters have a synchro gauge. We'll see how they want to handle it moving forward, but this to me more so looks like a very premium mechanic that would be tough to implement on characters that are not specifically given a lot of extra development time, especially because they have not only 2 models, but there's 3 models now with the fused character or whatever the synchro gauge is going to result in. So I think this is a good opportunity to revisit the synchro gauge. I think they had a lot of success with the synchro gauge, with the fusion mechanic during the 6th anniversary. And I think the biggest candidate for me that I've definitely seen a lot of people talking about is some kind of Goku Black and Zamasu future character, especially because it has been very mysterious that they have not touched the future tag in forever. Like, let's open Rose here. Let's take a look at future. What was the last future character they released? Yeah, it was Purple Cell, wasn't it? Purple Cell was the last future character. I mean, technically it was free to play first form Cell, but I'm talking about summonable characters. This guy came out in July of 2023. This guy came out 16 months ago. 16 months ago was the last summonable future character we got. It seems a little suspicious considering how often they used to buff this team. This team was literally buffed every other month for years. For years. Right? You take a look last year. I mean, we got Ultra Rose, we got this Cell, we got Vegito Blue. Constant buffs. And then don't forget, like, even looking back in the prior years, we got Transforming Red Cell, we got this Trunks, we got Blue Zamasu, who's a crazy 1% character. Vegeta and Trunks, we got the tag Android. Like this guy was I mean yeah, this is I guess the most recent future buff we got was this guy, but he's not a new character. There's a lot that they used to do for future. This guy doesn't have a Zenkai yet, so future mysteriously has been left in the dark for a very long time, and I think a lot of people, you know, in addition to myself, are speculating as to if they're doing that on purpose to go back and release some bombshell future characters to bring this team back into the spotlight, which certainly makes a lot of sense to me. I think one of the reasons why they were so heavy on constantly buffing the future tag is because a lot of these characters are just big money characters. Cell, I would say, is a big money character. Rose is a big money character. Obviously, Vegito Blue is a big money character. Fusion Zamasu is a big money character. Like, a lot of these characters are very, very exciting characters. Future Gohan, people like him a lot. We have the Blue Goku and Vegeta, so yeah, I don't really have an issue with them going back to the future well here. I think it's definitely time. We've had some time to cool off from the future bonanzas that we used to see every other month. So I'm ready for future buffs. You know, if I told this to myself 2 years ago, if I could talk to myself from 2 years ago and be like, you know, we're really starving for some future buffs, I think I would laugh at myself. Because I wouldn't even believe that. But yeah, I think future definitely deserves some buffs at this point. So I mean, I've been talking about potentially getting an Ultra Cell for a long time. I'm very surprised we don't have one yet, but definitely in 2025 we're going to get some kind of Ultra Cell for sure. There's no way we don't. But yeah, I think a synchro gauge tag Goku Black and Zamasu that fuse into Fusion Zamasu, that would definitely be a very, very likely option for me as one of the Part 1 characters. To me, this is the most likely character I think we could see almost. Again, this character was made for the synchro. The synchro gauge mechanic was made for this character almost. So it would make a lot of sense for this character to be one of the headlining units of Part 1. In terms of other options, I think, you know, you just take a look at the first part of the 6th anniversary. We got a fusing Super Vegito and a fusing Gogeta Blue. What if we just take the reverse of those? We get a fusing Super Gogeta and a fusing Vegito Blue. That could definitely be possible. I don't really know if they want to keep tossing like all these Vegito and Gogetas out like in rapid fire succession. Typically, they don't like to go through their stock of Fusion Warrior I guess not even just Fusion Warrior characters, but their stock of Gogeta and Vegitos like all at once. We saw it, you know, one celebration they do Super Gogeta. The next celebration they do Super Vegito. The next celebration they do Gogeta Blue. The next celebration they do Vegito Blue. So they're kind of spreading them out evenly over the course of all these celebrations. So I don't know if they want to go into the well. I mean, to be fair, they kind of contradicted that during the 6th anniversary, where they did Super Vegito, Gogeta Blue, and Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta in the same celebration. I don't think we're ever going to top that. That's probably an anomaly. That's never going to happen again. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. We'll see. But I don't know if they want to then go into the well again for this anniversary so soon, or this Legends Festival so soon after we had that craziness for the anniversary. But I think the options are certainly on the table for sure. I think another option that people, I don't think, really talk about a lot. I mean, maybe I'm just not looking, and I don't really pay attention to social media stuff that much. But if we go back to the character list here, I guess this would be a little redundant, but potentially a Tag Beast Gohan and Orange Piccolo. Orange Piccolo as like a standalone character, I think we definitely need that. I don't know if they would do that as a part 1 though. If they release an Orange Piccolo, like a new, because remember, the only Orange Piccolo we have in the game now is a reviving transforming character from Power Awakening Piccolo. We definitely need just a base start of fight Orange Piccolo that doesn't transform. If they wanted to do that, I think that could be like a decent part 2 option, like how it was during the 5th anniversary. But I could definitely see some kind of like Beast Gohan and Orange Piccolo tag character could be interesting. But yeah, I mean, those are some of the options I'm thinking for part 1. It's kind of tough to really pinpoint what I'm really thinking are like super highly likely. But to me, the most likely option I think is probably just some kind of Goku Black and Zamasu tag character. We'll see. Now, part 2, like I said, and I think I've mentioned this in the past few like Anniversary Legends Fest prediction videos, it is very tough to predict like game original characters because there's so many options. There's actually just infinite amount of characters they can do for game originals. I'll list some of the ones that I've talked about for a while. The first one is Broly and Broly. So Z Broly plus Super Broly together as a tag character could be really, really cool. Just seeing the interaction between the different versions of Broly. Of course, it's the same, it's the same voice actor, but I guess we would kind of hear like the difference in like, I don't even know, like mannerisms and stuff like that between the two Brolys trying to talk with each other. Frieza and Cooler is obviously one that I would really want to see. Now, Frieza and Cooler for me does seem a little bit suspicious that they didn't give us a single piece of representation for Cooler whatsoever during the Z movie celebration. We go the entire Z movie celebration. We get representation for Dead Zone. We get representation. We get massive representation for Tree of Might. We get representation for Lord Slug, but we don't get anything for Cooler. Nothing from the original Cooler movie, nothing from the Metal Cooler movie. So they had to go out of their way almost to not give us anything from the Cooler movie. I mean, they even Zenkai'd the Dragon Ball Super Bardock in the Z movies celebration over the yellow Super Saiyan Goku that is from the Cooler movie. That would have made a lot more sense to Zenkai. So to me, that does feel a little suspicious, and maybe the reason why they wanted to do that is because they are going to have some kind of representation for Cooler during Legends Fest, and I'm thinking maybe the way they do that is via a Frieza and Cooler What If game original character. So we'll see. That could be cool. I think, not just me, but I've seen a lot of people also ask for this, so we'll see what they want to do with that. One other one that I've seen a lot of people want is Future Gohan and Trunks. I think that could be a pretty cool option. They could also Zenkai along with them. Future Gohan, LF Future Gohan, still one of the oldest characters that doesn't have a Zenkai yet. One other one too, we could do this. Actually, Dokkan does have this too. It is Cell Saga Goku and Gohan. So like, what if Goku and Gohan fought Cell at the same time together? That could be a cool what if, sort of Goku family what if, I guess, kind of similar to what we got last year with Goku and Bardock, but it's like the next generation thing. But yeah, those are a few what if. Again, there's a billion different what if game original characters they could pull from, and it's just hard to list all of them because the list would be like hundreds of characters. So you guys can let me know what kinds of game originals you'd want to see below. I have gotten people asking me about a certain, I don't even know if I should talk about this, but a certain what if character from Sparking Zero as a character in Legends Fest. I don't think that's going to happen yet. I think it's on the table. You guys know who I'm talking about. I think it's on the table for sure, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's probably a little bit too soon for that to happen. But yeah, I would say it's possible. I mean, as soon as any character is released in a game, in a official Dragon Ball game, I think they're on the table and fair game for any of these games, for Dokkan, for Legends, anything. And then I guess I don't even know if I want to call this like a wild card or whatever pick for part 2. Again, if they don't want to do just 2 game original characters, they could do 1 game original banner and 1 just normal LF banner. I think the what if banner, or the LF banner could have a chance of being something Daima related. Daima is currently, we just saw episode 4. So if we go back to the calendar, so we saw episode 4 here. This would be episode 5 right here, episode 6, and then so I guess episode 7 would be when Legends Fest starts. I don't know what kind of breaks they're going to have, if they're going to be skipping any of these weeks here, but assuming they're not skipping weeks, part 2 I think would end up being somewhere like the 11th. Yeah, I think the 11th-ish would be when part 2 drops. So we got episode 4, 5, 6, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we'd be kind of like, episode 9 would just be coming out, I think, right when part 2 would drop. So if by part 9 they introduce something that's worthy of being part 2 in Legends Fest, I mean, they would know in advance. Trust me, they know what's coming in Daima in advance. And we have seen stuff in game already for Daima, right? We have Daima Goku is in the game. We had a countdown login bonus for Daima. We have a login bonus like reward thing whenever an episode of Daima comes out. So they're certainly setting us up for something, I think, for Daima. And they know what's coming for Daima. They have had time to prepare for this. So by episode 9, there's something worthy of giving us in terms of part 2 for Legends Fest. I think it's very possible they could do something Daima related for part 2. I don't think we're going to be getting into the realms of anything worthy of being like part 1 of Legends Fest for Daima yet. I think something like that would probably happen towards the end of the series, whether it's going to be like a new form for Goku or a new fusion, which I guess I won't talk about that because I don't want to spoil anybody, but that's probably coming later on. So I think probably by anniversary, right, when Daima is fully done and we have everything for Daima, I think, I mean, I'm talking about the 7th anniversary already here, but I think 7th anniversary has a very, very high chance of having some ridiculous things from Daima. So, but for now, since it's still airing, it's sort of early on still for Daima. I think something for part 2 potentially could happen, but it's going to depend on what they show by then. So for part 3, that's sort of the big thing. I mean, most people know at this point that for these major celebrations, for Anniversary and Legends Fest, they do drop Ultra characters for the final part. So I have 4 options here. I guess there's a 5th option I'm not going to talk about, which is Fusion Zamasu. And the main reason why I'm not going to talk about that is because I think we're going to get him for part 1. I think we're going to get a fusing Goku Black and Zamasu into Fusion Zamasu. If we do not get a fusing Goku Black and Zamasu into Fusion Zamasu in part 1, I think the chances of us getting Fusion Zamasu go up a lot for part 3, because that makes too much sense to release them for part 1, that if they don't do that, then something feels a little weird. But sure. For part 3, I'm going to list 4 possible options. I'm going to go in order of likelihood, I think. The first option is going to be what I think is going to be the most likely, and that is going to be Ultra Instinct Goku. So this is kind of like the step up from the prior year, right? Legends Fest 2023, we got Ultra UI Sign Goku. Now I think Ultra UI Goku. I do think it's time for this. Now the only concern that I have with this guy is Universe Survival Saga and Universe Reps are not too good anymore. We had the full year essentially last year of just Universe Reps getting tons of buffs. We've seen 0 buffs for Universe Reps in 2024. Like, this is the last Universe Rep character we got. So I don't know if he'd work the greatest on Universe Reps, but God Key could be interesting, especially if things go the way that they think I'll go, the way that I think they'll go for this, right? Part 1, if it is this is why I think this could work, because it would tie into the future buffs. And this is one of the reasons why I think Future is actually a pretty important tag to continually buff, is because a lot of the characters on Future are not just for Future, They're also for Saiyan. They're also for God Ki. They're also for powerful opponent. They're also for Android like Cell. So there's a lot of things that you can get out of buffing Future, because a lot of the characters on Future are helping like a lot of other teams as well. So if they want to go and buff a ton of Future characters in part 1, again, like a fusing Goku Black and Zamasu, they want to do a fusing Goku and Vegeta into Vegito Blue or whatever, I think that could be a very, very good way for them to potentially give us a really solid setup for Ultra UI Goku in part 3, because you could run him on God Ki and he'd be insane. Now, obviously, he doesn't even need God Ki, he doesn't even need Universe Reps to be dominant, because he's Sun, Family, and Saiyan. Right? So you don't need him to be crazy on God Ki Universe Reps when you can just put him on the Saiyan team and run him with Majin Vegeta and Turles and Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, like, and Tree of Might Goku, like, and you have like all these characters you can just run him with on Saiyan, so you don't really necessarily need him to be good on Future or on Universe Reps or God Ki, but it would be nice to have a nice home for him on God Ki, potentially with characters that release in part 1 in the same celebration. So I think Ultra UI Goku is probably the most likely option for me. Now the second option is also going to depend on what they do. Actually, no, this is gonna also, no, the next two options are gonna depend on what they do for the rest of the anniversary. Like if they don't do this character for part 1 and 2, then I think there's really a chance to do for part 3. Like, so the second character on my list here I have as Beast Gohan. I think Ultra Beast Gohan, I mean, it's just obvious. I mean, they've been buffing Gohan the entire year. I mean, we got Ultra Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, and we got where is it? And we got Ultimate Gohan here. It's just the year of Gohan, and whenever they give us a Gohan, I think he's ridiculous. I mean, you guys know how much bias they have towards Gohan. I don't know. I just think it's like Superhero is still kind of new, kind of fresh still, because we haven't really gotten into the weeds of Daima yet. I think once Daima, we start getting into some of the high level fights and climax of the series, then the newness of Superhero will sort of go away. And I think they probably do want to capitalize on the still lingering newness of Superhero before Daima just kicks it out of takes the throne, I guess, right? So I definitely could see an Ultra Beast Gohan for part 3 potentially. There'll be a lot of Gohans in the year, but Gohan's a popular character. They like their Gohans. Can't deny that. Again, but that's going to depend on if they don't do like a tag Beast Gohan and Orange Piccolo earlier on. If they do, then like it's going to be like 0%, right? They're going to do that for part 3. My next pick is, I don't even know if I have to, it'd take forever for me to scroll way down here, but it's Super Broly. Dragon Ball Super Broly, I think could be a really good pick. And it's not even so much for Broly himself. It's so that they could Zenkai Gogeta Blue. I think full power Dragon Ball Super Broly would be a very cool Ultra. I do. But I think one of the main reasons they would push him as an Ultra is so that they could thematically also push the finally long-awaited Zenkai for the yellow Gogeta Blue. I think that is probably at this point the single most anticipated thing in the history of this game. I actually believe that is the Zenkai for Blue Gogeta. I think Blue Gogeta will actually, like when Blue Gogeta gets his Zenkai, I think he will crash the servers. I do think so. Everybody that has ever played this game is very eagerly awaiting the Zenkai for yellow Blue Gogeta, and I think an Ultra full power Broly alongside a Zenkai for that Gogeta, that would be definitely enough hype for part 3. I do think so. Then the last character I have is going to be Super Saiyan 4 Goku. I think Super Saiyan 4 Goku was one of the picks I had for the Anniversaries Ultra. They actually just skipped right to Gogeta. I didn't think they would do that many Fusion Warrior buffs in a row, but they did. And they sort of skipped over Super Saiyan 4 Goku, who's obviously very deserving and worthy of an Ultra in this game. And I think, we've seen GT buffs the entire year. We've had now a bit of a down period, I guess, and them not giving us tons of GT buffs, right? We had essentially just a parade of GT buffs starting from January almost all the way through until the anniversary ended in July. But then since then, we've gone now like 4 months without a single GT buff, essentially. So I think a nice way to end the year and give us the final, bookend release for this year is they started with GT. It went strong for the first 7 months of the year, and now they can give us the final release of the year, Super Saiyan 4 Goku as an Ultra, and then that could be the final way to end this year as the story of the GT tag. Because it would kind of feel weird if we went into 2025 and then it's like, in like April we get Ultra Super Saiyan 4 Goku. Like, it would be kind of weird to me, but sure. I think any of those options, Ultra UI Goku, Ultra Beast Gohan, Ultra Full Power Broly, and Ultra Super Saiyan 4 Goku could all be worthy of Part 3 Ultra Characters for Legends Fest in terms of at least character level, hype level. My number one pick would be UI Goku, though. I think it's time. The last UI Goku, the only UI Goku we've ever gotten was 4th Anniversary, which at this point is 2.5 years ago. So I think it's about time we got our second UI Goku. So we'll see what they want to do with that. But let me know what you guys think about this Legends Fest coming up here. Again, we got just about 3 weeks, I think, until the start of the celebration, because I think it is going to be on the 22nd here. A lot of that is just due to the timing of the end of this PvP season, which is very suspicious. They've done this the last few years whenever Legends Fest starts. Same thing with the anniversary too. So this is almost undeniable proof to me, but we'll see as we get closer. Let me know what you think of the potential character options. Do you think that a Goku Black and Zamasu Synchro Gauge character is worthy of Part 1 alongside obviously another character? What kind of what if / game original characters do you guys want to see as well? And then also, what Ultra character do you want to see in Part 3? Let me know what you think. I'll see you on the next one.